And this is chapter number 6 as per your syllabus, wherein we are going to discuss about interview skills. We all know the importance of interview. We certainly want to get good placements. We all want to have a great and bright career. So we all want to improve our interview skills. But generally, when people say that I am going to prepare myself for job interviews and they are the only kind of interviews, again, this is a big mistake. Always remember when we talk about interview, you should understand opinion that you are having, the view that you are having. And when you want to share your opinion with that of others, this is called as interview. It's not necessary that you're going to appear for an interview process only for job. There are different circumstances, there are different situations, there are different places where people do conduct your interview process so that they can know more about you, they can know about your opinion, they can know about your perspective, they can also know about your strengths and weaknesses, they can know about your credentials, so that accordingly you will be given certain rules and responsibilities, or you will be awarded, you will be appraised. There can be different things which could be done with the help of an interview process. Now, when we talk about this interview process, as I said, that's it's an opinion that is going to get shared between two different people. Now, when we talk about interview, therefore, you will see that under the segment of interview process, you often see people sharing their opinion. Know the purpose of the interview. This is very, very important. And generally, people, they don't give importance to this. When you know the purpose of your interview, you will see that you can gather information both from the interviewer as well as from the candidate, wherein mutually you can agree, mutually you can decide, mutually you can discuss what is it that is in common among you both. What is it that you don't have in commonality, and how can you avoid those gaps? How can you fill those gaps? So, if I talk about interview process, not only the candidate who is going to appear for the interview, but also the one who is going to conduct the interview. Even he or she will be equally stressed. Even he or she will be equally in the state of tension, because he or she is trying to find the right candidate for the right position or for the right job. Now, therefore, the responsibilities that is shouldered both by the interviewer as well as the applicant, the one who is attending the interview process, falls on each other's shoulder, and they need to understand that if they really want to overcome this, they have to prepare very well. How can they prepare very well? By identifying the purpose. How can they identify the purpose? They should know what is it that the interview is called for. Is it for your visa? Is it for your selection process? Is it for your for the placement, or is it for some of the other purposes? So once when you identify the purpose, accordingly you can check, accordingly you will identify three important things. One, eligibility. You should know that for every interview process, there is certain set of eligibility criteria. And if you cannot identify the right eligibility criteria, it will be very difficult for you to prepare. So if you know the criteria of eligibility, you can certainly prepare accordingly and you can get through the interview process successfully. After knowing the eligibility criteria, you should also know the organization, you should also know the institution, you should also know the team, you should also know the purpose why this interview is to be held or is scheduled. Once when you know the purpose, once when you know the basic, the foundation of the organization or institution, or whatever the roles and responsibilities that are going to be shouldered on you, you will be able to prepare yourself, and then accordingly you're going to answer and approach. And that approach will be always positive, and that will always help people, encourage people to act accordingly, according to the expectation of the organization. So knowing the organization, knowing the institution matters a lot. So check the eligibility criteria, check the company or the details of the organization, detail of the organization or institution that is going to conduct the interview process. And at the same time, you should also start knowing about yourself. This is again very, very important thing. And this is the third and the most important thing, that if you are not well prepared, if you do not know what exactly you are going to do, And this question is not only asked to, or this statement is not true only with the applicant, but also by the person who's going to conduct the interview. So, therefore, both the interviewer and the candidate must know what they have to ask, how they are going to answer, what are the common things that they have to prepare so that they can fare well during the interview process. So, identifying process is very important because this is going to help you to gather the information. And when we talk about gathering information, interviewer is going to gather information about the candidate, and candidate will try to gather information about the interviewer. The interviewer will also identify what are the best ways in which he or she can select the right candidate for the right job and at the right place. Similarly, the candidate will also come to know more about the responsibilities, more about the organization, more about the decision maker, and how you or how he or she can impact the decision maker through your best answers. So keep this in your mind that this again matters a lot. Preparation and purpose should be very clearly defined. Now, in general, when we talk about interview, the mind always says it's for the job. So when we talk about job interview, when we talk about the job application, what are the common things that we have to keep in our mind when we are preparing for the job? Now, the first and the most important thing is you should know how to write a cover letter. Please remember, job application can also be called as cover letter because it is talking about the person. It is talking about what is it that you want to convey, what is it that you want to share with the other person, so that the applicant's application will not get rejected, can get shortlisted, and further processes can be smoothly conducted. So you should know how to write a cover letter. In the cover letter, what is it that you're going to mention, how you're going to draft it? We are going to talk or discuss about the same further in the next slide. For the time being, remember, job applications, they are also called as cover letters, and you should know the art of writing the cover letter. You should also know the difference between resume and CV, and what is it that is expected from your side if you are applying for the job in the different organizations or institutions. Then, when we talk about job applications, again, it is very important that you should know about your eligibility criteria as discussed in the previous, when I was explaining about the process of preparation in the identification of purpose. You should know what exactly is expected from your side. So, therefore, you should know what is it that you are going to explain to the interviewer. So, what exactly one is expecting from you, what exactly one is thinking from your side, that is to be very clearly identified and discussed in the job application. So let us understand how do we write a cover letter. Here is a sample of the cover letter, boys and girls. So make sure that whenever you are writing any of the cover letter, if it is on a paper, which started from address, if you're writing on the letterhead, from address will be eliminated. It will start straight from the address of the person to whom you're going to share the cover letter. So it could be to the HR manager, it could be to the department of IT, it could be to the sales and marketing department, it could be to the different departments. So to whom you're going to share the cover letter, that should be very clearly mentioned. The subject line should be again very clearly identified and written. Remember not to write the complete sentence. You cannot say that I'm writing cover letter for the job application. It will be cover letter for job application. Remember, always write the subject line in phrase instead of writing the complete sentence structure. Then comes the beginning salutation, dear sir or ma'am, followed by the three concepts that we have studied always while writing the body part of the letter. That is introduction plus the purpose, details or the explanation, and finally the conclusion. So here you can see in the very first paragraph, it gives a brief introduction of exactly what you want to share with the HR manager of XYZ organization. So you talk about yourself, that is, you are willing to apply for so and so position as an executive in so and so organization. And what is forcing you? What is it that proves that you are an eligible candidate? So if you have to prove your eligibility, you have to present that criteria. So you have completed or are you pursuing the course that is expected by the organization, from where are you pursuing the course, and what is your aggregate score. And then what exactly differentiates you from the other candidate. So if we are talking about differentiation, here we need to identify that your scores are not only the one thing, but apart from your scores, your different curricular activities, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, again, these matters a lot. And that is the reason why time and again you are asked by your teachers, you are asked by your faculty members, you are asked by your parents to get engaged into different life projects, work out on your extracurricular activities, even participate in different seminar, conferences, and workshops so that you can present that how you are different from the other candidate, why the organization must focus on you and why they should hire you instead of hiring someone else. So that credentials should be very clearly mentioned, not in detail, but yes, it should be in gist. It has to have the key highlights of what is it that makes you different from the other candidate. You can see here that it is because of the seminars, because of the conferences, as well as because of the OJT. You have gained certain work experience, you have fair knowledge about the corporate world, and that is the reason why you think you are a good candidate when compared to the others. And people must give value to your candidature. So, what are the areas of expertise that you're going to again mention? What are your skill sets that again you have to highlight? And finally, not to forget, you have to give a proper conclusion. You can see here that you are going to include your resume. You're going to either include your CV or resume based on the requirement of the organization. So more details will be clearly mentioned under the segment or in the document which is called as resume or CV. And then what is it that you are expecting from the HR of that organization that you're going to mention over here. So keep this in your mind. Writing cover letter is very important. It's not like, dear sir or ma'am, please find attached or PFA. That's again very bad. This shows that you are very poor at communication skill. You don't know how to start your communication, how to proceed with your communication, and how to conclude your communication. So it's always suggested, it's always advised that whenever you are looking for any job opportunity, and if you are applying for the job opportunity, the most important thing that you have to keep in your mind is you should know how to write a job application. You should also understand cover letter or job application are one and the same. If you are having or if you know how to write your cover letter, it will pitch your candidature in a better way. You will become a good prospect when compared to the other candidates or the clients. So once after writing the cover letter, let us understand the difference between resume and the CV. Commonly, people believe they are one and the same. In fact, not. Resume is different from the curriculum vitae. In short, we call it as CV. So, what is the difference between resume and CV? If you want me to give a single line definition, when you are working in an organization and if you want to work and associate with an organization wherein you're going to do some professional work, wherein you're going to take up the responsibilities of the different job roles like working as sales executive, working as technical expert, working as a coder, working as the website developer or designer, you should remember you're going to present your resume. But in case if you are joining any academies, in case if you are joining any of the publication houses, or if you are a writer, if you are a teacher, then you are going to present your curriculum vitae, that is CV. It talks more about your curriculum. It talks about your interest area, your subjects that you are very keen in, and the subjects that you can deliver, the papers that you can teach, the papers that you can take up so that you can share the knowledge of that particular subject and even enhance the knowledge of the students. So keep this in your mind that CVs are generally written by the teachers, by the academicians, or by the professionals who are associated with the educational institutions. But when we talk about the resume are generally written by those who want to work in the corporate world, in an organization, even in institution. When you are into administration job, you're going to present your resume instead of presenting your CV. So when we talk about the length, of course, resumes are very small, or they are shorter when compared to a CV. A CV can run in 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 pages, whereas when we talk about the resume, maximum it can stretch to 1 or 2 pages, not more than that. When we talk about the focus of the resume is completely on what is it that you have learned and how do you put it in the practical form. That is, how much of pragmatic approach do you have related to the skills that you practiced or that you have gained through the knowledge. Whereas when we talk about the CV, it talks about your expert area, wherein you have the expertise. So based on your expertise, it will talk about the expert field, it will talk about specialization, it will talk about the different subjects, it will talk also about the different information that you are delivering. It is going to give in detail about the specialization areas, the specialization papers, the papers that you have delivered, the knowledge that you are having related to these, how many journals, how many articles, how many chapters of the different books, or is there any textbook that was written by you or not. So when we talk about education, it's more about your experiences in the corporate world. Whereas when we talk about the education segment in the CV, often the education will be given high importance or priority would be given to education, whereas in the resume we hardly give importance to the education. Of course education matters a lot, education again is very important, but when we talk about an experienced candidate, education falls after the experience. But when we talk about a resume, CV, that is curriculum vitae, it is always the education segment that comes first, followed by the other publications or articles or journals that are written and published by the candidate. So experiences, yeah, of course, most of the time you have to share the job title, the company where you were associated for how long, and what were the important roles and responsibilities. But when we talk about the CV, it will talk about the highlights of teaching experiences. What was the position that was held by you, what was the responsibilities that were taken by you, what were the subjects that were delivered by you, and what were your accomplishments. So these things will be in detail mentioned in CV. Additional items related to your position, association, memberships, everything will be mentioned in resume. Whereas in the CV, you will see publication, research, conferences, seminar, workshops, FDPs, MDPs, all these things. FDP stand for Faculty Development Program, MDP stand for Management Development Program that was held, that were conducted, or might have participated by you as a candidate. Duration of the experience, maximum 10 to 15 years of experience will be highlighted in the resume. Whereas when we talk about CV, it starts from the initial time, from the day on which you started your teaching career till the time where uh, you are at the current position. So it's therefore very detailed one. If we talk about a person who's having a work experience of 40 years or 30 years, his or her CV runs in 10 pages, 12 pages, 15 pages. But when we talk about the resume, it may run in one or two, maximum 3 pages. So keep this in your mind. These are the basic differences between CV and resume. Now, after knowing this, let us understand the different types of interview. Now, as we have studied about data collection during the report writing session, it was very clearly informed that the interview process is conducted wherein there can be two ways of asking question. It could be either structured or unstructured, where we ask same kind of question to every candidate. Such kind of interview questions are called as structured. When we ask different question to different candidate based on the experience, based on the upbringing, based on the qualification, based on the skill set, such kind of varied question is called as unstructured question. Now the questions that is either structured or unstructured, or a combination of structured plus unstructured, the interview process can be conducted, or the types of interviews that could be held are five. The first one is one-on-one interview. In one-on-one interview, there is one interviewer and one interview. There is a person who's going to ask the question, and there is one respondent who's going to answer the questions that are asked by the interviewer. Generally, a teacher asking question to a student answering to the question that are asked by the teacher. This kind of interview process, again, this is held even in schools and colleges where the teacher conducts the viva, or there is an external who comes to the campus to conduct the interview or to conduct the viva and to score you people. Please keep this in your mind. It's not the selection process. In the viva, what happens is they are going to check only your knowledge skills, whereas in the interview, along with the knowledge skills, they are also going to judge you on your verbal, non-verbal content, the way you're going to present your ideas, the way you are going to communicate. the level of confidence that you are having, everything matters a lot. So it's a combination of the different things in interview, whereas in Viva, the focus or the emphasis is only on the knowledge skills. Then comes the next interview, wherein stress of the stress part would be checked. So such kind of interviews are called as stress interview. The interviewer will try to challenge your tolerance. They are going to try to test your patience level. How do they test your patience level? By making you wait for too long, or may try to irritate you by asking certain questions which are either tricky, which are either trying to challenge your patience level, testing your anger, testing your communication. So this again creates stress. This again creates worry in the mind of the candidate. The one who can identify such kind of questions and always plays very smart or maintains the cool and calmness of his mind, they are the one who will get through this interview process. And please remember, in most of the corporate job wherein you're going to work only with the mind of the people, wherein physically the effort that you're going to put is too less, but mentally it always demands for your attentiveness, your creativity, your innovation. There stress again matters a lot. So when you are in stress, you cannot think creatively, you cannot be an innovative, you cannot think beyond the box, or out of the box thinking is not possible when you are in stress. So such kind of interviews are generally asked whenever people are selecting you for the better position or at the management level. So the next is computer assisted interviews. Computer assisted interviews are those interviews wherein they conduct the test through the computer. I would like you to recall the tests which are conducted for JEE online, CAT online. So all these online competitive exams which are conducted online, wherein mathematical abilities, reasoning, logical abilities, verbal abilities, or even the regional language abilities are checked with the help of online test, which is again possible only through the help of computer. So such kind of interview processes are called as computer assisted interview. Then comes virtual interview. Virtual interview is where physical presence is missing. People are connected virtually. People are connected online, wherein through video they conduct the interview process. Could be through Skype, could be through Google Meet, could be through Zoom. There are different softwares. There can be different portal through which people can get connected, and then the interview process is held. And finally, the group interview. Group interview is such kind of interview where there are two or three people who sit together to conduct the interview of either one single candidate, or maybe again the number of candidates could be two or three. This is a kind of panel where panel sits together to decide, to find out who is the right candidate, what are the skill sets that he or she is having, whether they are fit for the organization or not. So these are the different types of interview process which are held in day-to-day life, and you should be prepared for all of these. You cannot say that I am pursuing BBA course, so therefore I'm going to work only for one-on-one interview. This would be a wrong process. So you cannot say which type of interview would be held. So you have to keep your preparation up to the mark, so that in case if there is a group discussion, or even if there is a group interview process, or if there is a stress interview to be conducted, or virtual interview, or could be computer assisted interview, or a combination of all these five, you should be always be prepared and should be able to present your best so that you can get through this. So when we talk about interviews, we should also know that preparation matters a lot. And when we talk about the preparation, they are done in different stages. So let us understand about each one of them in detail. The first thing is we have to prepare our resume. We all know that when we are trying to pitch for a job, the first thing that is there in our hand to talk about ourselves or to discuss about our candidature or the credential is our resume. Through our resume, we can present our candidature to the other candidate. So prepare your resume. Try to prepare certain common questions and also answer of these common questions, which will help you to present your knowledge skills, which will help you to present yourself in the better way. The clothing should be taken care. Do conduct certain mock interviews or participate in certain mock interviews so that your level of confidence will be increased. do anticipate certain questions. Say, for example, if you are sitting for marketing or sales job, you should know what kind of questions they are going to ask, and so that you can answer those questions. You can presume certain questions, and then you can prepare and you can present those answers in the confident way. Work out on the stress based questions. Also remember, you should know how to handle the interview when it is related to stress. How are you going to keep yourself calm, composed, and how are you going to answer such questions? Know about the vacancy. You should also study about the job responsibilities which are mentioned in job description. Often, when an interviewer is asking you, why should I hire you? Don't get confused and don't start talking about your skill set. Try to match up or try to answer the question from the job description that is shared by the company or the organization. Every company, every organization, before conducting the interview process, they do share certain job responsibilities, and based on that job responsibility, when you answer, say for example, if an organization is looking for an accountant who should be good at tally, who should have great accounting skills and numeracy skills, and at the same time he should be very smart enough in computer or computing skills, you should be able to answer this question by not saying that I'm very good at communication skill, I'm a very smart and intelligent guy. Rather, try to answer the question by saying that I have gone through the job description, and as per the job description that is mentioned, a company or the organization is looking for a person who is very smart in accountancy, who is very good at numeracy and computing skills, and at the same time, the one who can work on tally. So I have qualified tally ERP 9.0. I am a person who is very good at computing skills. You can check my computing skills. Numerical skills are fair enough. You can check my scores in my class. A test could be related to BBA or in your 10th or 12th. So do give your answers with the evidence and proof so that the person can check, can verify that yes, you are the right candidate, and accordingly he's going to select you. Also know where your interview process is going to be held so that you will reach on time, you can prepare accordingly, and then you're going to reach the venue with complete preparation. This is stage number two. Stage number two comes when you are entering into the interview process. When you first enter into the interview room, how do you present yourself? How do you enter into the place? How do you greet the people? How do you manage your body? Know when to handshake, when not to handshake. What should be the posture? What are the gestures that you're going to follow? You should not have the loud or you cannot gaze at others. You should have a proper eye contact. The positive smile should be there. Instead of looking nervous, instead of showing your anxiety on your face, work out on your body language. This matters a lot. The stage number three talks about how do you present yourself during the interview process. You are in front of the interviewer, so how are you going to present yourself in the best possible way? How can you manage your anxiety level? How can you manage the nervousness, and how can you present your the best? So the for giving your best, you should always know what you are, know your strength, know your weaknesses, know your credentials. Be very honest and sincere. Do not bluff. Don't talk too much, don't talk too less. Have a calculative communication with the other person. Don't be afraid of speaking whenever you are giving any clarification. If you know that your answer is right, don't hesitate, but don't argue. You're not going to argue in front of the interviewer. Instead of arguing, you should be positively presenting your ideas and thoughts in a convincing way. That's again the biggest difference between the person who is going to argue and the one who understands how to manage or how to handle the difficult people in difficult situations and managing the answers in a positive way. This is again very challenging, and you have to practice this. You should not lose your temper. You have to be very calm and composed. Always try to illustrate the answer with certain example if possible, but do not give too many number of examples just to explain one single answer. Be ready to present your the best, because you should remember you are going to sell yourself. You're selling your candidature, and the person should be convinced that yes, you are the right candidate for the right position for which they are looking forward. So show them that interest should be generated by you in your words, in the way you are going to present your answers. And finally, work out on your uh, conclusion part. This is again very, very important. Most of the time when you are sitting in front of the interviewer, and if you are observing his body language and you think that he or she is not showing interest, need to understand that you are somewhere lacking behind. You need to improve yourself. May not be this time, but for the next time you have to prepare your answers in a better way. You have to check your credentials, you have to check your eligibility criteria, you have to even find out what are the things that are actually that are actually looked forward by the organization, that you have prepared accordingly or not. Work out on your body language. This again plays very important role. Not to forget, when you are speaking, verbal plus non-verbal matters a lot. So always greet the person when you are leaving. Not to forget to say thank you very much. Only when asked to handshake, shake your hand. Otherwise, don't offer your hand for the handshake. Always remember to learn and listen more, because if you learn from your experiences, certainly you can improve yourself. Try to collect the feedback. In case if you think that the person is not at all satisfied, instead of getting sad and dejected, and instead of just saying thank you and leaving the room, you can also ask that you can be very honest, you can be very sincere, and you can say that you certainly feel that you did not generate that right amount of interest in the interviewer. So what is their opinion, what is it that they want to tell to you, so that you can improve your skills, you can improve your ability in order to fare well in the next interview process. And so when we talk about the structure of the interview, in case if you really want to improve your interview skill, these are the common things that you have to work out. Point one, work on your impression, because your first impression is going to be the lasting impression. So if your impression is right, if your impression is good, you can certainly present your candidature in the best way. So when we talk about the first impression, it comes in two rounds. First is when you are presenting your CV or resume. They should be errorless. They have to be uh, very beautifully presented. When I say the presentation should be beautiful, I'm not talking about the font, I'm not talking about the colors, I'm talking about the way that you're going to present about yourself, about your experiences, about your education, about your achievements, about your accomplishment, about your interest area. So all these things should be very well drafted and presented. Know the answers of the question, because if you are asked certain questions and if you do not know the answer, that shows that you did not prepare well and you did not take the interview process seriously. So you have to prepare yourself in the better way, know what to speak, know how much to speak. You have to work out on your attitude, you have to work out on your mannerism, you have to work out on your personal appearances, you have to also work out on your body language, the way you stand, the way you create the gesture with your hand, the way you are going to maintain that eye contact as well as the smile on your face, and show up that you are very well prepared. The day when you're going to work out on these common structures of interview, certainly you're going to prepare very well. And of course, when you are appearing for the interview process, you are going to present it in the best possible manner. So that's all in today's class. I hope everybody could understand the importance of interview skills, and certainly you all are going to work out right from the very beginning. That is drafting the cover letter, preparing your resume or CV as per the requirement of the organization. You will start preparing for the interview types, the kind of interview types that are generally held, and then accordingly, you're going to choose the questions and prepare their answers. And then the stages of preparation, that is stage one, stage two, stage three, and stage four. And then you also identify the structure of the interview and accordingly prepare. So I wish you all very good luck. That's all in today's class. Will come back or will return with more number of classes on grammar and grammatical skills. Till then, take care of yourself and have a fantastic day ahead.